Why do growing businesses love working in Slack? Let's ask Christy at RE Bikes.
Running things in Slack saves me so much time.
AI summaries save 97 minutes per week. What say you, Rox from Gosney?
Slack helps us build community, it helps us build connection.
Your partners, vendors and customers all in one place. Take us on home, Ashley from Caraway.
If we didn't have Slack tomorrow, I would explode.
Well, let's not let that happen. Visit slack.com/podcast to get 50% off Slack Business Plus.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Kraft Mac and Cheese is better than 90s hip-hop. We'll remind you of your childhood without making you feel incredibly old. Kraft Mac and Cheese. Best thing ever.
Hello everyone, Chris here. Just a quick reminder that this episode of How We're the Podcast is sponsored by LifeScoreBet, a proud principal partner of Sunderland AFC. And if you're looking to get started, they've got a cracking welcome offer for new customers. Bet £10 on sports and get £30 in free bets. Simple as that. So if you're ready to join the action, make sure you're doing it with LifeScoreBet, the home of tall betting. New members only. Bet more than £10 on sports within 14 days. Free bets valid 7 days. £20 to use on Sportsbook. £10 on Bet Builder. Terms and conditions and deposit exclusions apply. Please bet responsibly and remember, over 18s only. And now, cue the music. Hello everyone, I'm Chris Wynn and welcome to How We're the Podcast, sponsored by LifeScoreBet. And you join us as we gather after Sunderland go through to the fourth round of the FA Cup for only the second time in 11 years, as we finally overcame Everton in our first visit to their brand spanking new stadium. It was a strange game that we looked comfortable in for so long, but just didn't put them to bed. And it did seem to swing the other way after a dodgy penalty decision late on. But after a pretty uneventful extra time, we came out on top in an even stranger penalty shootout, 3-0, which we were just saying before we record is normally what happens to us in penalty shootouts. But it does see us in the velvet bag for the next round. And I'm very pleased to have a couple of gentlemen with me to give an initial reaction. And first up, we have Brett with us. Hello, Brett.
Hello, mate. How are we doing?
Well, I'm all the better for that. Did you enjoy that?
I did indeed, but Chris, I think you're actually about 20 years behind. It's not been a velvet bag for ages. It's more of like a clear plastic bowl we're now in on Monday night.
It'll always be a velvet bag as far as I'm concerned, Brett, and it'll always be the old kind of the balls that just there was no other balls in the world, Matt, that made that noise when they rattled that bag. But I don't.
And also, Graham Kelly isn't doing it anymore.
I mean, to be honest, I'll be surprised if they just wheel him in, in about 50 years' time, and he's just a head in some liquid, and he's kind of still doing that. Can you remember that one that was it Rod Stewart did in Scotland, where he was just looking in the ball? I think he was pissed. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
The infamous one.
Yeah.
I think they should do every single one pissed by Rod Stewart. Every World Cup, every FA Cup, he should do them all.
Yeah, but. Just quickly, Brett, I mean, in terms of, because actually you might have to bail out on us because of bloody extra time, that's kind of knackered us. But just very quickly, because the FA Cup, we got through, but then it was kind of one of them where before the game, are you bothered? But when the game starts going on, you're going, yeah, I'm bothered now, I want to win this one.
I'm 100% bothered. I was really, really pleased today with the starting lineup. For me, there's no such thing as a bad cup run. And this season especially, where, let's be honest, we are pretty much safe. I can't see anyone, them bottom three teams, getting anywhere near us. Yeah. I would rather finish 16th and in an FA Cup final, win an FA Cup final, than finish 8th, 9th, 10th. For me, silverware is better than any league position. So, I'd even prefer winning the FA Cup than scraping into the Conference League. Like for a league position. So, yeah, for me, I was really pleased with how we lined up today. We took it seriously. I'd say I was really impressed by, I think the team themselves, like the lads, seem to want to be in this competition. They wanted to make up from Wednesday. I was at Brentford on Wednesday. It was awful. But the lads were really hungry for it. Some of them just got off planes from Africa to play today. So, yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to hear, if you were so pleased with the lineup, if we'd got beat, but we'll get into that. But we've also got Johnny Hawley with us. Hello, Johnny.
Yep. All right, lads. It's always a pleasure to join you when we're talking about a good result for Sunderland. So yeah, chuffed today.
Well, that's it. But we did the preview, and Brett's just mentioned the lineup there because we got it completely wrong. We were kind of looking at Patterson. Well, we started off going, "Oh, it's got to be Patterson in goal, and he's got to make all these changes." Dan Neil's definitely going to be in midfield and all this. We got it completely wrong.
Well, it's not like us to just, very confidently get things completely wrong on this podcast. And yeah, the preview was no different, was it? I was completely shocked by the lineup when we saw the teams an hour before the game. But it was a pleasant kind of shock. I didn't think that we would have been able to field a team as strong as that. So it set the tone, I think, didn't it? From as soon as that lineup came out, right the way through till the first whistle. And then into the first half, I thought we felt like we were on a real bit of positive momentum just from seeing the team come out. And I imagine all the, whatever it was, 7,500 Sunderland fans who went down there, I'm sure they were all chuffed when they saw the team come out as well. Because I think we were worried it could have been a bit of a damp squib, this cup tie, but turned out to be anything but, didn't it?
Yeah. And we weren't just a little bit confident, Johnny. We were like arrogantly confident. We were like, yeah, nailed on, 100%.
The only one that we said, definitely 100%, no question, Patterson in goal. So yeah, please keep listening to us, everyone. We do sometimes get this right.
Well, to be fair, I've done my predictor. I had Dan Neil as first goal scorer. So I think I'm on the same page as you boys, to be fair.
Well, I mean, Brett, just talking about the fans who went down and us as well, looking at the lineup when it came out, I have to admit, I mean, I raised my eyebrows going, bloody hell. But that was a clear signal as how we're kind of approaching the FA Cup, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. It makes that bet I put on yesterday, us at 66-1 to win it, look quite handsome at the moment. And we should be taking cup seriously. Now, I get, when we're in the Championship, we're trying to get promotion. Yeah, it's extra games you don't need. We've got a squad for a reason. And we've shown over the last sort of, 5-6 games where the African lads have gone, actually, the team's not actually that bad. So I think it was obviously Brentford was one game too many for them, but yeah, let's take this competition seriously. As I said moments ago, I want to win something for once. My dad was at the 73 Cup final. He's 75. He still lives off that day. I want one of them days that is, I want a trip to Wembley that's not for a playoff. I want to win some silverware.
Well, that's it. But actually, you say that, Brett, but actually our two previous appearances in the FA Cup final have come as a second division club, bizarrely.
Very true.
Now we're talking about taking it seriously. But yeah, Johnny, I mean, some of the changes he made, we said kind of Mayenda would be up front, but at the back, kind of well-earned rests for Ballard and Alderete. And I tell you what, O'Nien and Serkin, they didn't look out of place. I mean, people have raised questions about them in previous kind of Premier League appearances, especially O'Nien, of course, coming on and doing his thing at Man City. But neither of them looked out of place.
No, and Serkin's proved that already for a couple of weeks now in the Premier League. Even against Leeds when he took some cop after the game, he didn't play badly. He just had the odd moment, particularly in the second half, and then the scrutiny comes because it's his first time at this level. But he's already grown into the team a bit, I think, and he's just continued that trajectory for me today. That was like you say, he didn't look out of place whatsoever. I thought he got forward quite well at times, contributed in possession as well as out of it. And O'Nien, yeah, again, I totally agree. He looked like a Premier League defender. Now, look, let's call a spade a spade. Everton's attack was woeful. There was no Grealish, there was no Dewsbury Hall, there was no Njai. They had Beto, they had Barry. Like this was not a full complement. But you can only play what's in front of you, can't you?
hang on a minute. You said they had Beto and Barry. That's their two strikers. That's all Everton have got.
Well, and that in itself is the problem, isn't it?
Let's be honest. Us three could have managed them two today.
Yeah, exactly. If we'd been in the gym for a couple of days before, we could have done a good shift at centre half today. But no, I think it's not a surprise really with O'Nien when you look at the fact that when he has seen the pitch over the limited minutes he's had, he was on the left wing basically when he got sent off against Man City, and against Liverpool he's coming on, chucking himself round one side, the other side, running up midfield, and he didn't play in his actual position. Whereas today he's lined up alongside Ballard as a centre half, which is something that alongside Mukiele as a centre half, which is something that he's used to. That's his position. So I wasn't surprised that he gave much better account of himself, but I was again pleasantly surprised that he looked as comfortable as he did, because I think it's a big statement, isn't it, for these fringe lads to be able to put in a performance against another Premier League team and be able to take some credit, because it's one thing if you beat a lower league side at home or whatever, but I think you do actually learn something about these players in a day like today. So yeah, again, positives all round, I think.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Brett, just talking about that, on Beto and Barry, by the way, if that was our strike force, I'd be very worried about about kind of how the season's going to play out. But just in the start of the game, Brett, because after 10 minutes there was a caption that popped up in terms of possession, and it said we'd had 87% of possession, but the first chance didn't come till about 20 minutes, and that was Everton. There was a volley from the edge of the box that went just over the bar. And I think you talk about, we'll come on to the goal, but the goal with Lafayette scored on the half hour was actually our first, of the game's first shot on target. Now, if you're looking at how much we controlled that game, Brett, and how much possession we had, is it still a concern that we're not really creating the chances, especially when we're controlling a game like that?
I think it is this season, and it did actually improve as the game went on. We started a lot more positively than I think we have done in the first half, the last couple of games. It seems to be we're more than happy to go a goal down, and then try and get back into the game. We did it at Spurs, we nearly did it at Brentford, when we started really fast in the second half, and then it just all fell apart. So it was refreshing for us to start a lot more positively for once. But yeah, you do say, especially at the start, getting the shots away was an issue. It did, we had a lot of chances from, going after that, after we took the lead. But yeah, I think I was on the pod last time I was on, and I was saying, you don't score, you don't score if you don't shoot. And that has always been our problem. We do need, I think, something else up front. I know we didn't have them up front. We had Moenda up today. We've got Brobby up front. We need to get those wingers up and around him to help. Mundle, I thought in the second half, started getting shots away. I thought he had a decent game. He got involved in it. So, yeah, there was improvements there as the game went on. But, yeah, you're correct. From the start of it, it did take a little while, although controlling the game, to actually get anything from it.
Yeah. Like I said, we did take the lead on the half hour, Johnny, and it was the first shot on target in the game. It came from a long throw that was allowed to bounce a couple of times in the box. And then it fell to Mayenda, who I thought controlled it brilliantly and perfectly laid it off to Lafayette. Well, you say perfectly, but it turned out perfectly because Lafayette was so good he could deal with it and then volley it straight into the corner. But brilliant. I mean, for Lafayette to bounce back so quickly in the first half hour of the game after what happened in midweek, I mean, I think, you saw all the players celebrating with him and the fans, how they took to him before the game and when he scored. It was just a good moment, wasn't it?
It had to be. It had to be Enzo, didn't it? If there was going to be a Sunderland player to break the deadlock, I think it did just feel like it would probably end up being him because of everything that went on during the week, like you say. And he fully deserved it as well. I thought he was, again, one of our better players, as he usually is, because he's a brilliant footballer. And like you say, the way that he sort of shaped himself to perfectly latch onto that Mayenda flick. I think Mayenda does really well. His first touch is really good to bring the ball down, and then he's got the awareness to see Lafayette. As you slightly alluded to, Chris, it's a perfect layoff because Lafayette scored it. Yeah. It is, it's a slightly awkward height, and it's maybe a touch behind him, but Lafayette contorts himself beautifully, wraps his foot round it, and he picks the corner out perfectly, doesn't he? Which was it was so satisfying to see because, I mean, I agree with what Brett was just saying as well about the fact that, we're not necessarily creating as many chances as we possibly should be going forward. So it's great to see that when we do create a good chance like that we can still be clinical and we're able to put them away. We don't need it to be 5-yard tap-ins and stuff. Like, I'd like to see more of those, but it's good that we can still punish teams when we do get those moments and we aren't just having the ball for the sake of having the ball and dominating possession with nothing to show for it. So I think it was an important time for us to score because if we played like that and then got to half-time at 0-0, probably does just naturally take a bit of the wind out the sails. But getting a goal, like you say, after about half an hour gives us that extra bit of oomph to finish the half well. And it kills Everton. It stops anything they're trying to build up because, now we're 1-0 down and we're at home and the crowd is starting to get on the backs a bit. So, yeah, it was in some ways, it felt a lot like I imagine visiting teams felt coming to the stadium. I liked for a long chunk of the mid-2010s, but yeah, it was great and a well-deserved moment for Enzo. And on the celebrations, I think it was Mundell right at the end just shoves Enzo back in front of the fans to take the acclaim for an extra 30 seconds, which that was a nice touch. I think it shows the players have rallied around him.
You've got to say, fair play to Lafitte to actually be in that position, because if you'd read social media on Thursday morning, he should have been banished and sacked from the club, hog-tied and chased out of town. It was such a, I was so pleased for him to get that goal today, because it was such a, I was disappointed on Wednesday, but the reaction to it was so over the top. It is social media for you. But yeah, I was delighted he got that goal. And as you said, Jonny, the fact that all the players are with him, the fans were with him today. So yeah, absolutely brilliant for him.
I mean, I'm just really surprised, that you've said social media is over the top and reactionary like that, Brett. But sort it out for us, Brett. I mean, that touch from Mayenda, because look, if Lafitte slices it and it goes behind him, everyone goes, "Oh, that's a crap touch from Mayenda." But Lafitte just volleys it into the corner. So are we just saying it was a brilliant touch because it ended up with a goal?
Of course it is. Now I've posted that on social media. What a fantastic assist.
Well, that's it.
If it ends up in the back of the net, I say if it ends up in the back of the net and, you're passing to somebody of that ability, doesn't matter. He can deal with it. So yeah, great ball for me.
Yeah, well, now that it's locked in on social media, that's it. That's the truth and the only truth. But before we get into slagging off the referee, we'll stop here for a quick break. So we'll be back very soon.
Prime's exclusive wildcard playoff game is Saturday night. Jordan Love and the Packers take on Caleb Williams and the Bears. Not a Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial to stream the game.
That's going to be caught for the touchdown.
NFC North rivals square off in the latest chapter of the NFL's oldest feud. The Packers and Bears in Prime's exclusive wildcard playoff game. Saturday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Only on Prime. Sign up for a 30-day free trial today. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a running back delivered, but you can get baby back ribs delivered. A strong defense? No. A strong deodorant? Yes. A six-pack of abs? Nope. Six-pack of beer? Yes. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Alcohol 21 plus and in select cities. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
And welcome back to How We're the podcast, sponsored by LiveScore Bet. And we'll get into the second half, I suppose, because they went in half-time 1-0. But again, Jonny, talking about that kind of how much we dominated the game and controlled the game, I never once felt uncomfortable that Everton were going to get back into it. But at the same time, I just thought, we haven't put them to bed and we don't look like we're going to.
Yeah, that was the theme throughout the second half, I think, was Everton having the odd moment here and there, usually where one of our defenders had been dragged out of position or overcommitted to a challenge, which, again, was rare. It's not like we were letting them in every, few minutes or whatever, but they had flashes. I think Beto had a shot late on that he hit into the side netting and, just the odd moment or two like that. But at the other end, yeah, we were just, we just sort of ran out of puff, I think, to be honest, from maybe the 65th, 70th minute onwards. Mundell, who I agree with Brett again, had a pretty good game, I thought, and he was a decent save from Pickford in the first half, away from getting a very good goal. But I think he just, it was his first start, wasn't it, of the season, and you could tell that it was starting to drain him late on. He was struggling to beat his man. Obviously, Mayenda gets taken off, and then Brobby also gets taken off later, which we might touch on. But, we were a bit disjointed. We were a little bit lacking in cohesion going forward, which, it's been a bit of a common theme, but it did really play out again today, didn't it, in the second half. We never really threatened, and it felt like we needed to put the game to bed. That was in a couple of different group chats, texting people, I think we need some fresh legs here. I think we need a second goal. I think they're going to get back into it. And obviously it ended up happening, but not quite the way we expected, maybe.
Yeah, Brett, there was a couple of times we had some fantastic moves all the way from our own 6-yard box or next to our own corner flag, and we worked the ball all the way forward. And then in the final third, it just broke down. But until then, it was brilliant football, but we just didn't seem to do it enough.
No, we did play some great stuff. I know Mayenda had a chance, I think it was around like the 65th minute or so, where, again, great team move, passing. The passing was really, really slick. And, he's just put it past Pickford's post, just like curled around the post. And I think there was another one later on as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of positives there. There's loads of positives. Again, though, I do agree. I think, although Everton never actually looked like scoring, any chances they did have were from distance, straight out of Roof from distance. He's going to claim them all day long. So there was never any danger at that time of them getting back in the game. But I must admit, it never felt like we were going to put that game to bed. I always thought it was going to be a 1-0 win.
Yeah, well, just because you might be dashing off in a minute, Brett. So let's get on to the penalty, because let's discuss that. Because look, it was it was a cross that was half cleared, and then it came to Michele, and I'm not quite sure what he was doing. 3 minutes to go in a cup tie when you're 1-0 up, and then he decides to, I don't know whether he was trying to meg him or whether he was trying to put it underneath him or whether he was just too casual, but he ended up losing the ball. And then, to be fair, we reacted well. There was 4 players around the Everton player who went down. I can't remember the guy's name, substitute who came on. And then Hume kind of put a leg across from the wrong side, you could argue. What do you reckon, Brett? Was it just that ridiculous, or was Hume a bit clumsy where actually, you might get 2 out of 10 referees who give that?
Well, the referees bought that completely. And then that Everton player, you can also see him stick his leg as well. He kind of hooks it behind the back of Hume as well. He's gone looking for that penalty. And if anything, there was a moment early in the half, I think it was around the 60th minute, where Hume could have given away a penalty, which was more of a penalty. He pulled somebody back down.
That was Beto in the box, wasn't it? Yeah.
That one was more of a penalty, and even that I didn't think. I think that goes to VAR. This one gets dismissed instantly. Never a penalty for me. That, you can see why Xhaka completely lost his head over it, because he's not done that often for us yet, has he? So. Everton got very lucky there. But again, I think that ref was atrocious all game, to be honest. There was another moment where, again, for us, Nordy tried to shoulder barge someone, came off worse, and we got the foul for it down by the corner flag. So the ref had a crap game all day, and that last one wasn't, it was just a cherry on the cake, I think.
Yeah. Just a quick comment on Michele in the box, Brett, because it was pretty casual, wasn't it?
It was very casual. Before that moment, when I was trying to think, who would be my man of the match? He was in the frame, especially for that overhead kick in the first half, which he didn't touch upon, which was beautiful. But yeah, after that, he got cross that one off the list. Yeah, what you do at that moment, you just clear it. You just put that ball as far away from your goal as possible. But yeah, so thankfully, at the end of the result, we got away with it.
Yeah. I mean, Jonny, look, I completely agree with what Brett said. I think everyone universally will say it's a horrific decision, but we didn't have put ourselves in that position where something like that could happen.
That's what's frustrated me about it, because I agree. Look, it's never a penalty, is it? If that's given for us at the other end, we're all sat there going, "Oh, bloody hell, the referee must love us today. He must have stuck us on his acca," because it was just never, ever, ever a foul. But I'm annoyed about it because what Michele's doing, I've got no idea. And listen, we shouldn't dig him out loads because he's been immense for us this season and he'll continue to be brilliant. But that was a proper brain fade. That, like, whatever he was trying, which you can't even tell what he was trying, but whatever it was the wrong decision. So he's put us in a bit of trouble in the first place. And then Hume doesn't foul him, but you don't need to do that. He was going nowhere. There was Sunderland shirts all around him within a couple of yards. Like, we know referees are shit. Don't give them decisions to make because you know they're going to get them wrong at an alarming rate. Like, he shouldn't have to think about that. He should be able to just think, well, I'm not fouling him, so this is fine. But we live in the real world where referees are, doing what they're doing. So, yeah, I was annoyed because it felt very self-inflicted. But at the same time, like I say, it's never a pen. So we shouldn't be sat here talking about it. We should be talking about a 1-0 Sunderland comfortable win.
Yeah.
But we're not because of the referee.
Or a 2-0 win because Michaela's overhead kick goes flying in the top corner and then he doesn't have to do the casual thing in the box later on. But just quickly, Brett, just on the VAR point, do you think referees, when there's not VAR, like let's say there was VAR available, he's not blowing his whistle for that because he's going to say, well, I'm just going to wait and see what they say. But here, he's almost kind of whistle happy because it's like, well, there's no VAR, so I've got to give something.
Yeah, I've got to make a decision in this moment. And so I'm guessing that he's thought it is a penalty. But he's been sold a dummy, hasn't he? Really? So, it's. I think that's as much as we hate VAR in them sort of moments. I say we would have got the decision our way. So we can't. To be fair, we can't have it both ways. You either get rid of it altogether or not, or we have these discussions again where we moan about referees, like we was, last season in the Championship and for the last 10 years in, all the way down to League One. So we can't have it both ways. But as Jonny said there, we've given the ref, a decision to make, and he's made it, rightly or wrongly. He's had to make a decision in that moment.
Yeah, and I'll just say very quickly, Brett, after Wembley, Sunderland fans all love VR, don't they?
Exactly.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
There's no,
you don't get to disallow Sheffield United second and then start complaining about it.
There's no love-hate relationship here. We absolutely love it. I don't care what happens next. Well, I'll say that now, touch wood and all that. But Jonny, went in extra time, and look, extra time, neither side wanted it, and it was just crap. I mean, it's probably only a matter of time before they scrap extra time in these games, isn't it? It goes straight to pens.
But again, though, I love extra time. Because if we all think back to the playoff semi-final leg,
that's where you're going with that.
I want extra time to remain in football forevermore. But I mean, on a serious note today, like you say, that was never going to be anything other than two teams trying to play out 30 minutes without creating a single chance. It was a case of injury prevention, essentially, and trying to keep the right people on the pitch to take penalties. The only thing I was surprised about was that we didn't make a couple of more subs because I did think we were looking extremely leggy. But I suppose with a full week before the next game, Lebris probably thought it's not worth the risk of somebody coming on and not getting up to the speed of the game quick enough and costing it. So,
I did think about the subs there. And you've got the likes of Neil and Rigg on the bench. And part of my thinking was has he not put them on because then they'll be cup tied? And then if he's getting loaned them out to other teams or, was that part of his thinking? I don't know. It's because it was strange not to bring anybody on.
Well, that's it. So did someone in the chat put Regis really hates Dan Neil because he didn't bring him on for a single minute in this game. And that extra time, I mean, I'm hoping, it's going to be a few years before I might need walking football. But if I want to know what it's like, I think that extra time was an advert for it. But it did go into pens, Brett, and I have to admit, with the way the game went, I'm of this thinking that we controlled it, we were the better side, right? Come on, then let's just get it over with. We're going to get knocked out on penalties and all that sort of stuff. But
you always think that, don't you? If you start that team that scores late, all the momentum's gone their way. They're all up for it. Yeah, 100%. We get knocked out in that round. But that was old Sunderland, I think. Obviously, new Sunderland this season, they keep surprising us. I would say before we came on here, I was thinking I was going to be really late to get on to do the pod, but wow, it was over quickly. Absolutely amazing. And then
That's it. Well, the first penalty taker was Garner, of course, who scored that penalty. But Johnny, it looked like he'd had a word with Enzo Lefebvre, maybe taking the mick out of midweek, and then he goes and misses the first penalty of the shootout.
That whole penalty shootout from start to finish was karma in the most satisfying way possible. For Garner, that little rat, he was horrible all game.
How did he not get booked for talking to the referee, by the way? He was doing it all the time.
I mean, have we seen the referee's performance the rest of the game, Chris? But, like, he got his karma for having a go at Enzo by missing the penalty. Enzo got his karma for, he's all the wrong reasons. Him and penalties are getting talked about midweek. He scores for us today. We win a penalty shootout. Roof's magnificent, But I can't believe how calm he looked still. And we say this about him all the time, don't we? Like, oh, God, I can't believe how composed Roofs looks. And after a while, you should think, are you not used to this now, lads? Like, you don't realise he's just quite good.
That's just his face. He just
yeah. He's actually shitting himself. He just looks dead calm. But no, like the every penalty save, he was like full stretch, strong hands to them as well.
Full stretch?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think the penalties were awful, if I'm completely honest.
Well, to be fair, though, he also nearly got to the one in the match as well. He went the right way and nearly got a hand to it. So
yeah, that's more what I was getting at. Like, Roofs he's gone full length with each dive. He's fully committed to each one. Some of them, you are right, hit him quite high up the wrist rather than towards the fingertips.
I mean, I don't know if you noticed the Beto one, Brett, but actually, when you saw it in slow motion from behind the penalty taker, Roofs was laughing as he saved it.
he enjoyed it. And I suppose for himself, he said, this is my time to shine.
He was down there waiting for it, like waiting for the ball to arrive.
He's like on a beach somewhere, just chilling. It's up for me, I might get that.
But by the way, Brett, I mean, 3-0 in the end, of course, on penalties, but every single penalty was absolutely brilliant.
Great penalties. Great. It was so good. Obviously, Lefebvre getting his redemption again, smashing it into the corner.
He should have Penenke'd it.
Yeah, I wish he had. You see, we can laugh about that now. That's the thing. Xhaka's was amazing. When 09 stepped up, I must admit, I did think, oh no, not 09. Because I could just remember that one. Was it during the pizza trophy versus Lincoln when he's just slipped in, he pulled the face afterwards.
Yeah, I also had visions of Catamol missing the penalty in the 2019 Checkatrade final against Portsmouth as well. I was like, no, don't let the fan favourite take the penalty. Don't do it.
But 09's going to be absolutely, I bet he'll be unbearable right now on that team coach.
He'll be getting lads going around signing his boots in that one.
I won the game.
Both brilliant. Yeah. I'll say all three penalties absolutely brilliant. And don't forget, Jordan Pickford's a really good penalty keeper. He's a really good penalty keeper. How many times has he saved England? So yeah,
I'm convinced that data on his water bottle is just made up as a psychological thing for players.
Well, you say that right, but did you not see when they showed the replay of after Xhaka scored his penalty and then Pickford's turning round giving him like a little cheeky boy? I think you were saying you've gone the other way than I thought you were going to go.
You don't do that 70% of the time.
Yeah, you don't do that for Switzerland.
Yeah, what data has he got on Luke O'Nine's penalty taken? By the way, I mean, where's he plucked that from? By the way,
O'Nien, it's just O'Nien with a big question mark on his water bottle. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, just quickly, just to finish up, a couple of questions. Quick man of the match. Go with you, Brett.
Right. So a couple of people definitely deserving a shout. Siddiqui was amazing. Getting back first game like he's never been away. Nordy up until that little brain fart. Mundle, I think, deserves a special mention because I did think he had really well. No one's talking of him going out on loan. I think he showed that, do you know what? I'd keep him personally. I want him around the squad, but it's got to be emotionally. It's got to be Lefebvre getting that goal, getting the first penalty, and actually had a decent game as well. So Enzo for me, man of the match.
Yep, Johnny, who do you reckon?
I can't really fault Brett's logic, but just so we've got a bit of variety, I'll say Robin Roofs because. I don't know whether he had a penalty shootout last season in Holland, but if not, he's currently got a 100% record of saving penalties in shootouts in his professional career.
Yeah. And just the last one, we're in the fourth round. Brett, what game would be the most interesting type of tie that we could get?
Anybody away as close to Milton Keynes as possible.
Jonny, have you got an inkling? Would you prefer a home tie or a championship side or a low side, or even if a non-league side gets through or anything like that?
I'll take Macclesfield at home after they've knocked Palace out. They've used their giant killer now. They're out of magic. So I tell you who I don't want. I don't want bloody Newcastle in this cup ever again.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see what comes out. I think the draw's on Monday, isn't it? Is that right?
Monday night. Monday night during the one show, probably.
Well,
when we're in the hat / velvet bag / Perspex Bowl or wherever they're drawing the balls from these days.
Well, it's only the second time in 11 years I've had any interest in the fourth round draw, so I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna enjoy it. But that leaves me just to say I know you're in a rush, Brett. So thank you very much, mate.
Pleasure. Nice being on.
Good stuff, and thanks very much, Jonny. Always a pleasure, mate.
Always a pleasure, never a chore, Chris.
Brilliant. Good stuff. And thanks again to everyone for listening. Don't forget, we'll have a more in-depth look at the game in the morning with the lads on our Sunday supplement, and we'll have loads more reaction on the Roker Report website as well. So look out for all of that. But from us, it's bye for now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.